the printing bureau. Let's look at the usual. As you know, this is not financial advice, guys. This is what I'm doing. So take with a pinch of salt, do your own research, and be accountable for your decisions that you make. Okay, let's get into it. Before I start, I want to go and look at the Dixie because I think that's quite important for what's going to happen. So I think on this channel, we've been covering the Dixie, and I think I said the Dixie stopped out about 2 weeks ago here. Once this candle was formed, I knew we topped up on the Dixie. The Dixie has been rejected on my trend line, rejected here, rejected there, and also rejected here as well. So it's been rejected quite a few times, and there's only so many times you can be rejected and give up. So and now we formed this candle here, which tells me that by all accounts, let's move this up here. Yeah, let's move this up, move this down. Yeah. So by all accounts, this is likely this opening next week we're going to go down. So I expect the Dixie to continue to go down, and to be honest, from a longer term perspective, the Dixie is coming to the 200 moving average here. So there's a lot of falling on the Dixie, which means all these risk assets are going to actually be going higher, right? So with that in mind, let's go back to cryptos and look at some of the coins that I'm trading. So let's look at Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is interesting. Bitcoin, we've obviously formed this peak here. We've come down. That's my level 1 drop, and we've broken the neckline. I was hoping we wouldn't break this, but unfortunately it's been broken, which means there's more downside, which means this drop here brings us to somewhere here to the 50-day moving average, becomes potentially a drop 2, and that may be the end of it. But if it doesn't stop there, I think we potentially will be looking at a drop 3 to somewhere around here, which would be the 200 moving average. So if I were to draw this on a pattern, if I just use this and say, okay, you've gone up, you've come back down, that's 1, you then bounce back up, you then come back down here, call it here, we bounce back up here, and then continue our journey down to somewhere there. So that's the sort of end and bounce. So that's the sort of scenario I'm kind of watching to play out, but not for this week, of course. I think this week my target for Bitcoin is between the 46,000 and 50,000. So let's call it 47,000 or 48,000. Let's call it 48,000 to 51,000. That sort of bracket will be my target for this week on Bitcoin. So I mean, if I just delete this off, that would be probably about from where we are now to 50, 51, even 51,000, 10% drop on Bitcoin, which will be a devastating drop on altcoins. So that's for Bitcoin. Let's go and look at PEPE, or RNDR first. So this is RNDR, and as you can see on RNDR here, again, if you were to draw it, it will be something like that. So you've gone to the top, you've fallen down here, you bounced up here, and now you're going to bounce here as a 2. So level 2, hopefully you bounce maybe up back to somewhere there, yeah, and then flash, final flash, maybe down here. So it's also similar. You're gonna have 3 drops, and then you consolidate, and boom, off to the races. So, but this is going to take a long time to play out. So for this week, my target is 575 to 615 for reindeer to fall between that gap. And as you can see, I'm expecting a rise to somewhere around the 713 if we're lucky. If I go to 4 hours, for example, I'm going to have a look. You can see that actually we might not get that right. The rise has already happened, 705, and we're coming down. So it's not going to hit the 713 anymore. It's now a case of, you know, how quickly is it going to run down? And you know, I think the six, even the six, this target here, this profit target is too high. But you know, at the very least, it comes down to here at the very least. So, but I think my target is obviously 575 to 615. And I think what I'll do is I'll move this to 615. That this area is where I take my profit. I'm in this trade at the moment. So I'll be taking profit around this zone here. But I think there's more falling to come. But you know, we'll take it a week by week. So that is RNDR for you. Let's go and look at the other coin. Let's look at PEPE. So PEPE is also on the weekly chart. You've got energy flow to the downside. We're just coming down. We've done first drop, this second drop. Hopefully we bounce a little bit back up to maybe 099 area, and then continue the journey down. I think, you know, potentially, I think PEPE for this week, for me, my target, I will put my profit target somewhere here around the 70 mark. Let's put it here, 70 area will be my target. But and that hopefully gives you a level 2 drop, and then there will be a final one. So I think PEPE comes all the way down towards here. I think the moving average, obviously this will keep on moving up, so you probably will come and meet it somewhere around, I'll probably say maybe between 5 and 4, between 5 here and there, you know, somewhere there is where PEPE will end up before the rise. You know, I mean, even if you say, okay, you want 50% of this body of the candle, it's 3.7, yeah, so you know, which is very possible, considering where Bitcoin might be going. So, but for this week, I think the target for this week is a rise to 99, 4 zeros, 99, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 99, and that's if you're lucky. And you know, the profit target is obviously there. So profit target is 89. So I'm going to 82. Let's call it 82. Let's move this 821, 82. Call it here. Yeah. So profit target somewhere there. This area of interest for me for taking profit. So that's PEPE. Let's look at say is here. So say again on the weekly chart, energy flow is down. I mean, you could say that say is done. You know, level 1 drop there, a level 2 maybe, and you know, maybe your level 2 is here, level 2 and level 3 is in process at the moment. So, and it's sitting on a, hopefully it's going to sit on this small support here, which may hold, you know, but if Bitcoin is going to come down into the 48 or even 50K, 10% drop will bring us probably down to somewhere here, which will be 0.2215, which is where my profit target is for this week. So say hits 0.215 this week, you could form a range of 0.225 to, you know, this range here, which is obviously around the 215, 218 area. That area is an area to take profit for me. So that's safe for you. I think ultimately, if it gets really bad, I think you're looking down to 15, you know, and I think that probably becomes your, you know, the area where you potentially get a bounce, 15, you know, on say. So there's a bit more falling on say to come as well. So that's say. Let's look at JASMY. So JASMY, I got JASMY here. JASMY, again, energy flow is down. We're having a bit of a bounce here, but you know, I don't think this is sustained. Best case scenario, the bounce takes us to about 0.27 area. I think 0.27 is the best case we'll get on this, maybe between 2.6, 2.7, and we continue our journey down. And I expect this to get down to somewhere in the 14, 15. But I think for this week, let's be conservative and pick a 0.17 as a 0.17 as one of the area of interest for taking profit. Yeah, so that will be an area of interest for me for taking profit. So that's JASMY for you, but I think ultimately JASMY comes down to 0.15. But it may not happen this week, so don't hold out for it. So that's JASMY. Let's do PENDLE. PENDLE. So PENDLE, we having a rejection of lower prices on this candle with a stick, with a wick at the bottom. So we'll probably go up a little bit when the wick closes. PENDLE, I think, potentially can rise to about a 420. So 420 is possible. It's a stretch, but I think that would be a perfect entry, 420. And then you kind of run it down to I think somewhere here, the 50-day moving average, which is being formed here. So 275. Let's just put an alert on that, so we know when it gets there. 275 will be a profit target area for me, and we've also got 420-ish, 1720, anywhere near here. It's an area for entry. So that is for PENDLE. And then let's look at IMEX. So IMEX, again, it's been falling and falling. I think if you were to draw, you probably say, say this is level 1, this is level 2, and then you're going to get a level 3. So level 3, I think we see $1 on IMEX. I think between 105 and $1 for me. We will see that this week. It could rise up to the 135. We could bounce back up to maybe 135 before that, and that would be a great place for entry in terms of a short. It would be a great place for entry. So that's IMEX for the week. Let's talk about we've done BONK. So BONK is another of the coins I like to trade. So BONK, again, energy flows to the downside. We're forming a kind of an indecision candle here, but it's red, so there's more sellers than buyers end of the day. So BONK could rise up to the 0.24 mark, but if we go back to 4 hours, I think that rise has already happened. So we've had a bounce from 0.18 to 0.2386. So I think the rise has already happened. The next step is for it to go down on BONK. So it's probably just going to be a down movement from here on BONK. And the target on BONK for me for the fall is 0.16. So I expect it to hit about the 0.16. So if we go back to the daily chart, the weekly chart, sorry, I've got here somewhere here. Sorry, my alert is just going off. So that is what I expect on BONK anyway. It's supposed to come down. And then we've got tier. So Celestia. So Celestia, Celestia honestly is looking really, really good for me. Like, if we say, okay, that's 1 drop, that's 2, and this is 3, and this is the final coffin, nail in the coffin. But I think we need to exceed this candle before we go. So I think, Celestia, for this week, I've got it potentially can rise a bit more, maybe to about the $6 mark. It can get to $6, maybe $6 mark, which will be a good entry for a short. I think if we can get $6, and then I think we run it all the way back. My full target for this week is $4.50. So $4.50. So $4.50 is about somewhere there. $4.50, somewhere there. That's where I expect it to fall this week. We will potentially wick below, so it could go all the way to the low 4s. But for this week, that's my target for tier. And then I've got BOBA. So BOBA, BOBA has been falling a lot, quite a lot. But I think, you know, if Bitcoin continues the direction as expected, then there's going to be more falling. Unfortunately, I think we'll be back to the doldrums around the 11s. The 11s somewhere here is where we'll be. 12s, 11s on BOBA. Unfortunately, it's been quite a long trek down with no bounce whatsoever. That is not great. But yeah, so I do expect us to go down more on BOBA. I think, you know, for this week, my target for this week on BOBA is 0.16. 0.16, and you know, because of the rejection of lower price, I think we could rise to about 0.25. So 0.25 is possible, but I think we fall to the 0.16 mark for this week. And then we've got, last but not the least, we've got SUKU. So SUKU is a coin I'm buying for my spot bag. So let's go into that. Again, SUKU has been falling, consistently falling. I mean, it's like pouring water down. It's falling a lot. I think SUKU, you know, it hits this point here, and as you can see, I have got my check and buy alert there. I think the 0.04 area becomes attractive for me to pick up because of the support zone. There's a support zone there, there's a support zone there. So, you know, that area is where I'm expecting SUKU to fall to. I think it can rise to 0.07, so we can bounce a little bit to 0.07, but I think ultimately we go down a little bit more. And at this point, I will be picking some for my spot bag. Yeah, so that is SUKU for you there. I mean, if we look on the monthly chart, we can see we've been falling for the last 3 months in a row. And I think, you know, at these sort of areas, it becomes really, really attractive. There's a big support there, big support here. So that is SUKU. And I think that's all the coins I've got for you this week. I wish you all the best, and, you know, take good care of yourselves. And we shall catch up probably during the week. I might do a short video on how things are progressing. And I wish you all the best.